This week's Extra Life on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by EXA. EXA brings the latest technology to gamers, offering the most immersive products for the ultimate gaming experience. They've compiled the best elements of cutting-edge ENC tech, the latest in Bluetooth 5.0 and 7.1 surround, plus extra features into their headsets so everyone can enjoy a sensational gaming experience. And they've got headsets for Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC. Plus, they won't break the bank. Learn more about the headsets that are available and any current promotions by going to f5live.tv/exa. So you might be aware, if you've been paying attention, that there have been some strikes going on for the last couple of months. The Screen Actors Guild has had a strike against Hollywood for a couple of months. The Writers Guild of America has had a strike going on for a couple of weeks longer than SAG-AFTRA did. Together, it has pretty much brought Hollywood to its knees. No new writing, no new acting. Everything has been shut down because of it. Productions are backed up. But one industry that was unaffected was the video game industry until this week. SAG-AFTRA, the Screen Actors Guild, has voted to strike against the video game studios, basically all of the major video game studios, meaning that there is no voice acting for video game development right now. It's an interesting move, and one obviously that is likely to work in Hollywood, but that I fear might go the other way. And we'll talk about what's going on in Hollywood a little later, but I fear that what they're doing with the video game industry might backfire. Because so my current fear is that what they're going to do is they're going to try, for like indie games, or not necessarily indie games, but smaller production games, they might go use one of the text to voice AI services and discover that it works as well or better, financially for sure, as bringing in somebody that's in SAG-AFTRA. So, I don't know. I might be overthinking it, but it feels like... So, just to preface what's going to happen later in the show, there's a lot of talk about, how AI is going to affect the industry. My fear here is that this is going to go the other way. They're fighting over AI over there, and over here, I feel like maybe the AI voice stuff is going to almost usurp what they're up to.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question because text to speech is pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not acting though,
Yeah.
but it's pretty good. I mean, you could say the same thing though about about text to text, right? Making it seems like convincing writing until you um, actually start to look at it in volume,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now the thing is though, with video games, you might if it's like an NPC that's talking to you or something, you might expect it to be robotic because it's a video game, right?
Sure.
Like, I mean, my expectations of video game are different than my expectations of a film or a
Sure.
TV show,
Sure.
uh,
You expect
even an animated one.
I would say we're in this case we're talking voice actor to voice actor, so animation would be a good comparison.
Right.
You expect proper voice acting in Futurama, and
Right.
probably in a Futurama video game. But,
Right.
you know, there's a lot of games that what can come out of some of these voice AIs. Like we had one on the show at CES this year. I think we had one in 2020 as well. That they've improved a lot over the last just 6 months. And if the video game companies feel like putting a little bit of money into the technology might help, it'll probably help.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how to feel about this one because I
Mm-hmm.
don't like the AIs, replacing people.
Sure.
And I do think, like, I was watching a video. I would invite anybody, if anybody likes like MythBusters or MythBusters Junior or any of those things. I saw a video today from Adam Savage, who runs Tested now. It was on MythBusters about what he thinks of AI, and he was talking about AI artwork, and he was saying that like whenever he sees something, he knows that it has some type of a perspective, and something that's generated by an AI doesn't
Yeah.
have a perspective. Um, so
That's an
that's what a lot
interesting
of
way of
people
looking
have.
at it.
I mean, that's the same thing that like the stochastic parrot. I mean, I've been saying in different ways, and the paper about AIs being a stochastic parrot that was so famous about is, hey, only human beings create meaning, not machines. So it can sound like a person, but it doesn't have a perspective, and therefore it's not. It doesn't. I mean, it's not real. But, that's acceptable for some things, I guess. And so, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think text to speech is bad. Um, I I'd like my like video game characters to have some personality to them, like, um, but it's hard to say. I mean, you can cert AIs are getting more and more convincing in terms of sounding like a person,
Mm-hmm.
including with intonations and feelings and things like
Yeah.
that. So they don't actually have feelings. Everyone should know, because there's
What?
some people who don't seem to know that. Well, I mean, that's may sound like obvious to us, but I'm just saying I keep reading things where people seem to think that the AI, like, there was a whole we could have done a whole segment about the whole AI therapy thing this week. Did you see all of that? Where someone who
Oh no.
works for OpenAI. Did you see it? No. Someone who
No.
works for OpenAI, who's very prominent, said that they had used ChatGPT as a therapist and it was great. And then there were somebody else came on who also is like a big AI booster who was like, yeah, this is obviously I have to fix it a little bit, but this is great. Therapists are overpriced. People should be using chatbots instead. And
Oh.
obviously, people who know anything about actual therapy are not do not think this is a good idea.
Of
So,
course not.
um, yeah. So, because again, it's kind of a degradation of what it means to be. A lot of the AI boosterism is really based on the idea that what it means to be human is not that meaningful and not that different than a machine. People are just machines, and therefore it's very you know anti-humanist in a way, because it's like, oh yeah, sure, a machine could say it, you could say it. What's the difference? And so this is the same thing. Oh, you could talk to a machine, you could talk to a person. They're going to listen to you, right? Now, I mean, my microwave oven will listen to me also. It even allows me to reflect on myself by looking at it and seeing my face in the door. So, I mean, I can even, I can set it for a 45-minute therapy session. It'll even beep for me when it's over. Like, uh, I mean, this is, obviously, people have beliefs about AI that are about large language. AI is such a broad term, as we said, large language models that are fantastical and only benefit the only benefit the people who are selling these products and making money off of them. That all of that being said, it's hard to say. If I were in the voice actor guild,
Hmm.
for I would probably approve of the strike because like it's a very huge threat to my livelihood. But on the other hand, I don't know. There's something. I mean, I don't know how they handle it now, but in video games, like you, there's so many different possibilities, right? Like if it's for cutscenes, obviously we know that okay, there's a certain number of lines, and like when Keanu Reeves as his character in Cyberpunk, like he probably just to sit there and read all those different lines.
Hmm.
But if you have NPCs that you're, I don't know, dealing with and want to have conversation with, and there may be sort of an open, it could be quite open ended. Um, then how are you going to do it if you have to record every line, every possible line?
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely benefits to human. There's benefits to AI. My fear is that the range for human voice actors is going to shrink. That's two different voice assistants that have responded to the show tonight. Uh, my,
Yeah.
seriously, yeah. My fear is that the range that they're going to be working on is going to shrink. That the bottom is going to come up, because
Yeah.
there's projects that aren't going to stop, and they're going to go, well, how do we solve it? Well, we can get one of the artists to come in and talk, or I can use Lovo and just move on with your day.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be an interesting question. Is going to be like, um, if you're really famous, if you're really famous voice actor, you are
Hmm.
going to have a little bit more influence, right? If you're, let's say,
Sure.
you're a movie actor and then you're coming in and doing voice for a game,
Sure.
um, then you might have more clout to say like you can't just clone me.
Sure.
But people who are sort of doing the other stuff, the less famous people, less famous names who are making a living doing this, they're going to be the ones who are really in trouble because they're not going to have a lot of clout. Um, it one of the things that is interesting, and we could have a whole segment on this, is whether you control the rights to your voice or not, because there's in Europe, they have a concept of a right to publicity,
Hmm.
right? You own your face, you own your voice, I think. But here, you could take a picture of someone on the street and sell it, as long as they're in a like
Right.
publicly visible, right?
Right.
So, um, I could use, I guess, Tom Cruise as a voice actor if I went around and I grabbed and I followed him around the street and had him commenting on things, right? If I was interviewing him or I just ran around, hey, Tom, would you be in my movie? No. Oh, great. I can have Tom say no in my movie now because I record, like, I don't know. I'm just kidding, Tom. But but what I'm saying is like, they, uh, there's real question about um, whether artists will be able to their uh, stop their likeness and their voice from being used without their permission.
Right.
Um, it may be, particularly if they've already been in a whole bunch of things. Maybe the studio that filmed their movies can now take samples of their voice from all the corpus of movies that they've been in and
Right.
then turn it into something, right? I mean, it it's it's very problematic. There was a did you see the Intel press conference for the Intel Innovation press conference a couple of weeks ago? This
No.
also happened. This was 2 days before the Microsoft one. Um, the At the Intel conference, they had a um, they were talking about how fast the new CPUs are, and they took a demo. They did a demo on stage of a text to music extension for, I think it's actually for Audacity. Like it's some kind of plugin for the Audacity audio
Yeah.
editor. And they asked it to write a song in the style of Taylor Swift.
Hmm.
They gave it like a couple of minutes, and then it wrote a song in the style. I don't mean like record a song in the style of Taylor Swift. Now, and when they played it, it was really weird because it sort of sounded like Taylor Swift, but it had no words. It was sort of like right, sort of
So
like it sounded
it
a
was
little bit.
it was Taylor Swift just doing the cadences.
Yes, yes. I guess it was sort of like the Parents and Peanuts or something. Anyway,
Sure.
but I'm sure if they had given it a better, maybe if they'd given it a better prompt with like words, because they just gave it the world's simplest prompt, like give me a
Sure.
Taylor Swift song, which is a problem with a lot of AI prompts. It's like, yeah, I'm just going to give you a really broad command. But what was really funny to me was, so they did the demo, right? And then Intel CEO Pat, so somebody was assisting him, whatever, on the stage. Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger comes on, is there, and he's like, and the other guy's like, he puts it on and gives it a minute to process, and then he says, "Are you ready for this?" And Pat and Gelsinger says, "Yeah, let's hear Taylor." And the other guy turns to him and he's like, "No, no, no. The style of Taylor Swift. Like, don't say it's Taylor Swift. We could be in trouble. We could be sued."
That's
He
funny.
didn't say we could be, but that was
Yeah,
kind of the
yeah.
implication. And I was just thinking, like, I wonder, like, that was pretty gutsy of Intel, one of the world's largest corporations, to do such an act on their demo stage in front of the world, uh, with the world's most popular, or one of the world's most popular artists. I
Uh-huh.
mean, it's hard for me to believe that Taylor Swift would is endorsing this behavior, or gave her permission for this. So it's part of the kind of very brazen uh, uh, attitude that a lot of companies, especially tech companies, have
Yeah.
about how, yeah, sure, I can just take anything I want. Well, we talked about this in the last session about whether they have the right
Right.
to learn, but it was just interesting to me that Intel, of all companies, they went there.
Yeah.
Like, Google won't do it. If you go to Google's music generator and you ask it to do something in the style of Taylor Swift, it won't.
Yeah.
They're afraid. I think they're afraid of the RIA suing them, but not
I
Intel at their event.
So I actually think Google has an agreement with Rhea because of their YouTube music program.
Oh, so in other words, because they have a relationship, they don't want to mess it up.
Correct. Yeah. I
Oh,
was
okay.
I was part of a focus group about some AI generated stuff. I quoted you to the Google focus group, which I thought was fun. Uh, and that was one of the things that was talked about, is that, they've got an agreement with Rhea for the YouTube music licensing stuff. And so therefore, there's a lot of stuff that Google's not doing in that realm.
Well, I think that companies that do this should be afraid.
Yeah, for
Should
sure.
be afraid of a lawsuit. They should be afraid
Because
of a lawsuit.
because Sarah Silverman is going after uh, Google,
Oh, there's more.
but
OpenAI.
yeah,
I don't
for
think Google has been sued for that yet.
no,
I think had a
was it
little
just
bit of a
OpenAI?
lawsuit.
But
I
okay,
think Bard
so
has been sued a couple of times, but it's been more OpenAI because OpenAI is a bigger target right now, I
yeah,
guess.
so
George R. R. Martin too.
yeah, see, but I mean,
17 new artists just the other day.
so I'm going with Sarah Silverman because it's the wrong decade for her to have power, right?
Right.
She had a lot more clout in the industry in the early 2000s than she does today, and even she's
Right.
saying, no, I think I have a claim here. I think I can make this work. So somebody like
Right.
Taylor Swift, who has all of the clout in the industry, theoretically has the power to burn it down.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Yep.
just
I
just
I
as a
mean
note,
I
while
play
we
with
were
fire.
Yeah. While we were talking, just because I wanted to, I asked Windows Copilot to write me a full song about bananas in the style of Taylor Swift, and I have lyrics, and they're wonderful. Anyway.
Yeah. There, retweeted yesterday or the day before. Somebody was boasting about how Doll E3 wrote them a Batman comic, and like
Mm.
drew a Batman comic, and the frames of the Batman comic that they showed looked really really good.
Mm.
Um, but DC Comics, Warner Brothers,
Uh-huh.
I, I, you should be paying attention. Uh, you should be paying attention.
Yeah.
So anyway,
The world the world is getting really interesting, and I think there's going to be a very strange clash that comes out of this SAG-AFTRA strike in the video game world. And we will definitely
yep,
keep an eye on it. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course, hit the notification bell because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.